So is it possible to find the perfect match? Well, let's talk about that in the new Celine Song film, Materialists. Hey everyone, it's David Stark from Watcher Pass. I'm here to talk to you about Materialists, which comes to theaters on June 13th, 2025. It is the second movie from Celine Song. She wrote and directed Past Lives, which I adored. I thought it was a fantastic film. Is Materialists a good sophomore effort? Does it kind of continue that trend? Well, my hot take is I think you should watch it later. I thought it had a fun cast and some good, clever writing and some interesting subject matter, but it didn't really quite check all the boxes for me. Check all the boxes of reference to Materialists. It deals with dating. It deals with kind of like trying to find that perfect match, trying to check all the perfect boxes to make sure that this person is compatible with this person. This movie just didn't do it for me. So I ultimately think you should wait for it to come to streaming or on demand. It was clever, it was funny at times, has a great cast, but I just didn't love it as much as I expected to. So all that being said, I'm gonna tell you about the film, a few things I like, a few things I didn't like, and then really quickly go into a recap. So as you can imagine, there will be spoilers in the recap section. If you don't know what happens in this movie, and you might not, there are some surprises along the way. I'll turn off when I get to the recap. Before that, though, I'll keep it vague. I'll keep it spoiler free. Let's try to get to those spoilers. So in Materialists, you have Lucy, who is a matchmaker. She is dealing with like high-end matches, high-quality individuals that want to find love. But when she herself starts to maybe fall in love, she starts to question whether this whole system is right. So things I like about this movie. The first, I like some of the writing. Some of it was sharp and funny. It was, clever, thoughtful. It was kind of like looking at our modern world where you like have to check all the boxes to make sure you're a perfect match. And that is how you evaluate people without even really kind of looking beneath that surface. So I thought that there were some good jokes. There were some funny moments. There were some like fun, clever, sometimes painful dating, observations that made you kind of laugh and sometimes cry. Second thing I loved, I had some really good music. There was some great music that sets the mood, kind of like nice, like New York feeling music. It had a little bit of an older feel to it, which was interesting, but definitely helped to set the tone and set the scenes. The third thing I love the cast. Great cast. Dakota Johnson, Chris Evans, Pedro Pascal. What more could you want? They are a wonderful, wonderful cast. And I really enjoyed seeing them in this role. And the last thing I loved, I like the slow build up. It had a nice slow build up. Took a while to get going, introduce the characters, introduce the like main dilemma. I thought that was really, really nice. Didn't really love the rest of the film, but I thought that the build up was really good. All that being said, things I didn't love as much. The first, there was some like weird delivery. I don't know if that was just Dakota Johnson's character, but she felt very robotic at times. It was weird. It was strange. It didn't feel natural. It felt like someone who was like trying to suppress emotion, which maybe that was supposed to be her character, but it came off as weird for me. Also, some of the conversations had unnecessarily long pauses, which then led to some of the other things I didn't love, a slower pace, a longer, runtime for this. So there was some weird delivery that kind of didn't let me sit back and enjoy, those moments. The second thing I didn't love, I kind of mentioned it, very slow pace. It's really slow, which I'm okay with if I'm really interested in the subject matter, but it felt unnecessarily slow. It felt like it kind of dragged on a little bit too long. It felt like it went a little bit longer than it needed to. There was a perfect point to end the movie partway through, but it kind of kept going, and it didn't make it much stronger. The third thing I didn't love, there was like a strange motif at the start and the end. It really is an odd way to start the movie. It comes back around towards the end. I just didn't think it tied all together. I thought it just kind of like was a little jarring to see. So I'm not going to spoil exactly what it is, but I'll tell you about it in the recap. The fourth thing I didn't love, some of the writing. Like I said, I liked some of the writing. It was sharp, clever. Other of the writing just felt, like I said, robotic, unnatural, strange, kind of like overly dramatic at times, which is weird because I adored Past Lives. I thought it was beautiful. I thought it was very well written. Now, Past Lives was semi-autobiographical for Celine Song. So I don't know if this is also autobiographical. I don't imagine it is because it's, she's married. It's not how she met her husband. Feels like maybe when she wasn't writing something that she had experienced, maybe the writing wasn't as sharp and crisp. I don't know, but I just didn't love the writing as much as I expected to from a Celine Song movie. The last thing I didn't love as much, that's kind of a strange back half. It has a nice slow build start, and it kind of devolves towards the end. So I'm not going to go into that here. I'll go into the recap. But all that being said, Materialist comes to theaters on June 13th, 2025. Like I said, I think you should wait for it to come to streaming or on demand. Watch later. But if you do check it out, let me know what you think. Let me know what you liked and didn't like. I'd love to hear it. I'm going to really, really quickly go into a recap right now. So if you know what happens in this movie, I would turn off now because there will be spoilers. So, Materialist, like I said, starts and ends with this strange motif. It is like a caveman motif where you've got two cavemen. One like brings flowers, he gathers flowers and gives one to the cave woman. It's supposed to be like the first people that decided to get married. Again, it just feels weird because you have this opening and then it cuts to New York. And it does come back on the back half, and there is a moment in the film that kind of relates, but it just felt like a strange way to start it. It felt weird. It just didn't really click with me. But after that strange opening, you meet Lucy, who's played by Dakota Johnson. She's a matchmaker. She works for a high-end matchmaking company, and she is doing great. She has matched a few people. I think she's matched 9 people who are getting married. So she goes to the wedding of one of her matches, and there meets that match's brother, Henry, who is played by Pedro Pascal. Now, Henry is charming. He is rich. He is smooth. He has everything that you would want in a person. But there is a wrinkle here because also at that wedding is an ex-boyfriend of hers named John, played by Chris Evans. And Chris Evans is kind of, I mean, he's gorgeous, as you imagine, he's Chris Evans, but he is not what Lucy wants. He is struggling, he is poor, they have some history, so they have some good history, but some bad history as well. And they broke up previously because he was broke and like it stressed Lucy out. She wanted something nicer. She wanted to live a finer life. And so that caused their original split. So Henry seems like the ideal person. Checks all the boxes, right? Rich, well-educated, attractive, rich, over 6 foot, rich. He has everything that Lucy wants. So she starts dating Henry. He takes her on great dates in really fancy places. He doesn't bat an eye at the bill. They have fun conversations. He seems like a genuinely nice person. But she also seems to still have feelings for John. I mean, it could be just a close friendship, but she reaches out to him occasionally. Nothing happens between them, but it feels like Lucy is kind of torn between these two people. This like very comfortable life that she said that she wanted, and this like residual feeling for John that she has from their past relationship and the other X factors, the things that you can't measure in like check boxes. So eventually, John, who is a struggling actor, gets a role in a play. Lucy and Henry go to the play. They meet John. Lucy introduces Henry as her boyfriend. Henry's really nice. It's a little awkward, but I think they all try to make the most of it. Now, later, one of Lucy's previous matches, someone she's been trying to kind of set up with someone, gets assaulted on a date she went on. And this causes Lucy to kind of spiral at work. And it's a very abrupt change. Now, yes, it is emotional. It is something that, Lucy didn't expect. But it is also a little bit odd because she is setting these people up. They are not doing like full background checks on these people. They're just going from an interview, kind of getting their preferences, trying to match people based on that. It is not extensive. It is not like a guarantee. And so when this happens, Lucy just kind of spirals and she just like loses faith in the system. She loses faith in what she's doing. And again, not good, but there is a world where when you meet a stranger, something bad can happen. And that is what happened here. Now, Lucy becomes less optimistic about her job. She becomes a little more fatalistic. She, starts going to matches and like does a horrible job where she's like, "You are trying too hard. You gotta be real with who you are. You're not a catch. You're a," she's basically kind of has a no filter attitude with some of the kind of like interviews that she does. And eventually, she gets put on leave. Now, she's not fired. She's put on leave. They say like, "Look, this happens. We understand you're emotional. The stress happens. So take some time off and come back and you'll be re-energized." Henry decides that they're going to take Lucy's dream trip. Lucy's always wanted to go to Iceland. So he plans a trip to Iceland because he can, because he's rich and rich and rich. So after Lucy gets placed on leave, though, she's starting to get ready for her trip to Iceland. She has to get a passport. She has to do all that stuff. But she also goes to see Sophie, the person who was assaulted. And Sophie is very mean to her. She's emotional. She's went through a terrible experience. There's lawyers involved. But she is unnecessarily cruel to Lucy, in my opinion. Again, look, it's not really what it feels like. She is just putting everything on Lucy. Like, why didn't you know this person? Why didn't you vet this person better? That wasn't their company policy. They don't do background checks, I guess. It seems. So again, very emotional for Lucy. Seems unnecessarily kind of like mean for Lucy. Lucy seems to be taking this extremely, extremely hard. Now, eventually, as they're getting ready to go on this trip, Lucy and Henry talk, and Lucy, I guess, came to a realization. She says that they're not in love, that Lucy and Henry aren't in love with each other, even if their match makes perfect sense. They check all the boxes. Henry has everything that Lucy would hope for. And this conversation comes after it's revealed that Henry had like height adjustment surgery. So he used to be 5'6". Now he is 6 foot. That helped him, with his confidence, that helped him in the dating world, that helped him in business. It kind of helped him all around. And Henry's kind of ashamed of this. And Lucy said, no, that doesn't make me ashamed. That kind of like, makes me appreciate you more, but still we are not in love with each other. We check all the boxes. Henry kind of seems as a business decision where like, they complement each other. They are good for each other's brand. And so they should get married. And Lucy's like, no, I think she still believes in love. So they break up, don't go on the trip. And Lucy takes the luggage that she was going to go on the trip and she goes to see John because she had sublet her New York apartment for the week because she was going to be gone for the entire week. She needs a place to stay. Familiar place, John. John is still living in a apartment with multiple roommates. It's chaotic. It's loud. It is not what Lucy has been experiencing. So John doesn't want them to stay there. So they drive upstate. They're going to get a hotel room, drive upstate, hang out for the week. Now, they end up going to a wedding because John works as a caterer. Remember, he was a caterer at this previous wedding. So they end up going to a wedding. He sees a catering truck that he works for, goes there. They get him into the wedding. They have like a cute, fun time. They enjoy each other. They kiss. But then after they kiss, John leaves. And Lucy goes up to him and John confronts her and says, you know, ask basically if she's using him, if she like thinks he is so useless that he is just there as a springboard after this bad breakup that she has. Lucy is, I think, hesitant here. She doesn't necessarily want to marry him because she doesn't want, what happened before when they broke up because they were broke to happen again. But John just doesn't want to feel used. So this is an awkward scene, but Lucy then gets a call from Sophie. And Sophie is calling her because the person who assaulted her, I believe his name was like Matt something or other, is outside her house and he won't leave. He's just ringing the doorbell. This person that assaulted her, she's sued him. He is just ringing the doorbell, threatening her. They're saying he just wants to talk, but it is creepy, it is threatening, it is awkward. And Sophie apparently has no one else to call, so she calls Lucy. She called the police. They couldn't do anything. She apparently has no friends, which is weird. Like in New York, you would think you'd make some friends. Maybe like exit anyone. No one will come. The only person that picked up was Lucy. Strange, weird, but it makes for an easy transition here. Lucy and John head back to Manhattan. They say they'll take an hour. I've never gone into Manhattan in under an hour, but hey, maybe they can. They get to this place and the person is gone. He's left, but Lucy goes in. She sees Sophie. They talk. They make up. And Lucy stays with Sophie that night. She sleeps in the apartment to make sure that she's safe. John spends the night outside waiting for Lucy. It's very sweet. And then the next morning, John drives her back. Now, outside of the apartment after Lucy leaves, they talk about love and whatnot, and they say that they love each other. John says that he's always loved her. Lucy says that John is the only reason that she knows is capable of love because she does love him. She just doesn't want to like essentially have the same thing happen. She doesn't want to hate him because he's broke, essentially. John makes her a promise that says he will always love her. And again, it gets a little sappy here. It gets a little bit too kind of like with a bow tied in the ending. They eventually end up dating, and we find out a couple weeks later they're having a date in Central Park. John picks up some flowers, picks up some food, goes to meet Lucy. Lucy is talking with her company. They want to make her the head of the New York office, and she says she's not sure. She's not sure if she's going to take it. She might go in a different direction. I'm like, Lucy, take it. You need to support John. He doesn't make much money. He's pursuing his dream. You need to make the smart financial decision. We'll see what happens. John brings these flowers and some food. They meet in the park. John asks if she wants to make a terrible financial decision, which essentially means he's asking her to marry him. He takes one of the flowers, makes a ring, puts it on her finger, just like the caveman motif at the start. Strange. It kind of relates also while he's walking. one of the New York museums has like a caveman exhibit. So it comes through in the movie occasionally. It's just weird. They kiss. It seems like they're happy. It seems like they're going to get married. Hopefully, they will stay together this time. Um, and that is the movie. Now, during the credits, there is a kind of like stinger scene during the credits. They're at like a New York City hall marriage. There's a bunch of people there. It's chaos. People are going, getting married left and right. John and Lucy show up. They go get married. And also during this time, some cavemen show up as well at this place to get married also. So that is Materialist. Like I said, I didn't love as much as I expected to. It was a cute idea, right? Like, why are you looking for all the boxes? Maybe you'll find love somewhere else. Maybe love isn't just like preferences. Maybe it's not a perfect match. Nice idea. Good idea. Good theme. Just it felt like it went too long. It felt like when they were driving upstate after they got back together, that would have been fine. And then it went on this weird m- you know, other tangent where we had to find out what happened to Sophie and Lucy and Sophie had to make up. And then, it felt like I had to wrap everything up in a bow. I mean, we do find out what happened to everyone. Sophie goes back to dating. So does Henry. Henry starts using the matchmaking service to date. Lucy and John end up together. So everyone ends up happy, but it did feel like it went on a little bit too long. It did feel like you could have ended it when they were driving upstate. They could have gone to that wedding. Maybe they could have talked there and said, this isn't, the lavish wedding you wanted, but it's something that could make you happy. And then they could have just ended it right there, and everyone would have been happy. Henry's fine. He's rich. He's handsome. He's 6 foot. He'd be fine. Lucy and John would be happy. We don't really need to know what happened to Sophie because it's terrible, but we don't have to have everything tied up with a bow in a movie. That would have been fine to end, but overall, look, it was okay. The movie was okay. I enjoyed the cast. I liked some of the writing. I liked the themes. It just didn't really speak to me like Past Lives did. So I had high hopes. Maybe that was my fault. Maybe my hopes were too high. But overall, I think you should watch it later. I think you should wait for it to come streaming or on demand. If you do check it out, though, let me know what you think. Let me know what you liked and didn't like. It's coming to theaters on June 13th, 2025. And thanks so much for watching. If you like this review, please like and subscribe to this channel. It helps me out a lot. Make sure all my new content goes straight to you. Thank you.